Imagine a weapon that travels at over a mile a second. A weapon that can change its target mid-flight, weaving through the atmosphere like a ghost. A weapon that could hit you with almost zero warning. Well, this isn't science fiction anymore. This is the new reality of hypersonic missiles, and it's kicking off a new, high-stakes arms race that is completely changing the game for global security.
And that's not just me saying it. That pretty stark warning comes from one of the top military officials in the United States. It's a really blunt admission of a terrifying new problem. See, for decades, the world's biggest powers have built these super elaborate shields against attack. But a new kind of sword has just been created that can apparently slice right through them.
So what is it? What exactly makes a weapon so unstoppable? Is it just pure raw speed, or is there something else going on here? That's what we're going to break down. To get that answer, you have to understand the secret sauce here. It isn't just about going incredibly fast. It's about combining that speed with a brand new and kind of terrifying level of agility. Okay, first, the basics. Hypersonic just means flying faster than Mach 5. That's over 3,800 miles per hour. But what's really wild is that at these speeds, the physics actually starts to change. The friction is so intense that the air molecules around the missile literally break apart and react. You're not just flying through the air anymore. You're tearing it apart as you go. Right, so here's the crucial point. We've had fast missiles for a long time. An ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile, actually goes much faster than Mach 5 at its peak. But, and this is a big but, it follows a really high predictable arc through space. Think of it like a long bomb pass in football. You can track it, you can see where it's headed. Hypersonic weapons, though, they're more like a star running back. They fly low, inside the atmosphere, and they can juke and swerve at any moment, making their final destination a total mystery until it's too late.
So how do they pull this off? Well, engineers have come up with two main designs for these things, what you might call the unpowered glider and the air-breathing cruiser. On one hand, you've got the Hypersonic Glide Vehicle, or HGV. Think of it as a super high-tech, maneuverable warhead. It gets a ride to the edge of space on a normal rocket, then it pops off and glides all the way down to its target without an engine, using its shape to make sharp turns. On the other hand, there's the Hypersonic Cruise Missile, or HCM. This one has its own engine for the whole trip, a revolutionary piece of technology called a scramjet. And this is where you can really see the headache for defenders. Old-school radar and satellites are all designed to look up, searching for that big, arching path of a ballistic missile. But these new weapons fly much, much lower, staying under that radar for most of their flight. They're basically sneaking in under the fence. And if that wasn't tricky enough, check this out. Some of these gliders do something called a skip glide. Instead of a smooth flight, they actually bounce off the upper layer of the atmosphere, just like a stone skipping across a lake. Every single skip lets them go farther and gives them another chance to change course, making them even more impossible to track. Of course, flying at those speeds inside the atmosphere creates one, well, massive problem: heat. And this isn't just a tough challenge. For a long time, it was considered a total engineering nightmare. We're talking about temperatures over 1,500 degrees Celsius. To put that in perspective, that's hotter than molten lava. Normal steel would just melt. The weapon is essentially flying inside a furnace that it's creating around itself. So how on earth do you build something that doesn't just vaporize? You have to use materials that sound like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. The hottest parts, like the nose cone, use things like tungsten. Other big surfaces are covered in advanced ceramics. And for the most extreme parts, they're using stuff called ultra-high temperature ceramics. Materials so tough, they really seem like they belong on a starship. So solving the heat problem is one thing, but for that hypersonic cruise missile we talked about, you also need an engine that can actually work and produce power in that inferno. And this is where we get to the second engineering marvel, the scramjet.
You know, think about a normal jet engine. It's full of spinning fans and turbines, lots of moving parts that squeeze the air. At hypersonic speeds, all those parts would shred themselves to pieces instantly. So how do you build an engine that can breathe fire at Mach 10? The answer is you build one with no moving parts at all. This is a scramjet, and as you can tell, it looks really, really simple. It's basically just a hollow, carefully shaped tube. The genius here isn't in complicated machines, but in pure, brilliant physics. Here's how the magic works. First, the missile is boosted up to hypersonic speed.
At that point, air is ramming into the engine so fast that the shape of the engine itself is enough to compress it. No fans needed. Second, fuel gets shot into that stream of super hot compressed air, and it just ignites. And third, that explosion blasts out the back, creating enormous continuous thrust. It's an incredible trick. It's like trying to keep a match lit in a hurricane, and then using that flame to power the hurricane itself.
So this incredible technology is not just on a drawing board anymore. It's real. And the question of who has it and who's ahead is really defining a brand new global arms race. So let's take a look at the current scorecard. From what we know publicly, Russia and China were the first to get these things working and out in the field. Russia claims to have the Avangard glider and the Zircon cruise missile ready to go. China has deployed their DF-17 glider. The United States, meanwhile, has a bunch of programs in development, like the Army's long-range hypersonic weapon, but they haven't officially fielded one yet. And make no mistake, this is not just a three-wave race anymore. This technology is spreading. Countries like India, Japan, France, and even North Korea are all working on their own versions, which pretty much guarantees that this new era of warfare is going to be a global one.
Okay, so we've seen what they are, how they work, and who has them. Now we get to the most important question of all. Why is everyone so worried? Why is this technology considered so dangerous?
Well, it boils down to 4 big reasons. First, like we saw, they can sneak past the missile defenses that countries have spent billions on. Second, their speed and crazy flight path shrinks the time a world leader has to make a decision from maybe half an hour to just a few minutes. That massively increases the risk of a catastrophic mistake. Third, you can't tell if an incoming missile has a normal or a nuclear warhead, so a defender might just be forced to assume the worst. And finally, all of this just rips apart the very idea that kept the Cold War from going hot: mutual assured destruction. That whole balance was based on knowing nobody could strike first without getting wiped out in return. Hypersonic weapons, they threaten to shatter that certainty.
Which leaves us with this one giant question. Are these weapons just the next evolution, a faster, better missile? Or are they a true revolution, a technology that completely rewrites the rules of power and makes the world a far more dangerous place? Honestly, the answer to that is being written right now, in secret labs and on test ranges all across the globe. Hey, if you found this explanation useful, do us a favor and hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into the tech that is shaping our world. Thanks so much for watching.